this out on the table and get this over with. So, the issue that I see on this is centers around the Chancellor Clerk's office. Melinda, I'm gonna ask you to start this, and I'm just gonna ask you a simple question that might eliminate a lot of fears. Have you received everything that you need to receive to do your job? Do you feel like there's been anything impropriety that's going on, or you feel like there's something being hidden in the public? You're the person that needs to address this. I certainly don't know, and I don't think the other board members know. We're here working to help you in your transition and to keep the Chancellor Clerk as smooth operation as possible can be. But I think you're the person that needs to start this off and to address this, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yes, there were some records that David Earl Johnson withheld purposefully, and I think that got out through staff members and just people talking, because my staff knew there were several improprieties that went on. They were paying employees without issuing 1099s, and so that's essentially violating tax law, federal and state. There were issues where Marie Burge came in and tried to get two of my employees to illegally pay a debt that the former clerk owed out of my cash funds, and told them to specifically keep it hidden from me. Thankfully, both of those employees on January 19th came and told me of these actions. There's been some continued problems. The QuickBooks, David Earl, through Mr. Joe, had asked him to turn over the QuickBooks. He said, no, I did not need them. He was running a separate set of books in tandem with the AS400, which is our, pretty much half the state uses the AS400, and Delta is a company that manages this on the coast. The entire month of January, Marie Burge had full access to my data without my knowledge. On the day that I learned of this, on January 27th, and we called Delta. Delta was very disturbed by it. They deleted her. She was accessing it from her home. While I was on the phone with Amber at Delta, who's the administrator over these accounts, she was shocked to find out that Michael Jervis, our IT director, overrode her command to delete Marie and gave her full access back into my accounts. And I addressed that and told Michael Jervis to never give authority to anyone else to get into my data. And he said Adrian Lumpkin gave him the authority to do that. And so I talked to Adrian. Adrian said he told Michael to give Marie access to David Earl Johnson's data, but she was in my information also. So we addressed that. They got her out. I told them I would, and I've always complied with every need that she's had, to close out the books for her, my predecessor. Told her I would get anything for her. But if she needed anything else, that she would have to come through me. She could come through my office. We would get her any reports. I even instructed my employees, after she was asking them to do illegal activity, I even instructed all of my employees to not have further activity with Mrs. Burge. everything she needed, but, with that said, we continue to have some difficulties, and there's been issues. Finally, I gave, Mr. Joe Montgomery the state statute that says, I spoke to the state auditor's office there, and they know all that's going on, or has been going on. They said he has to turn over those records because they're public records. Mr. Johnson's, premise was everything I needed was in the AS400. I did not need that second set of books. I felt like for us to continue a transparent government in our county, we need all public records to be in our office for review. So I got that back a few weeks ago. I cannot access that because I do not have a QuickBooks format. You have to have a QuickBooks format. Michael Jervis said he would order a QuickBooks, and that's been several weeks ago, and I still haven't received a QuickBooks. So, yes, I've received those records back into my office, but I have not, been able to access that. Also, Michael Jervis cleaned the computer of Marie Burge and wiped out the public records off of that computer. I didn't get the computer back for at least a week and a half to 2 weeks. So there's been a lot of difficulties incurred through this transition because of well, just to say, we've encountered some difficulties. I do have those records now, but cannot access them yet.
Can I say something on that, Linda? On the hard drive, it wasn't actually your whole computer that was missing, it was just a hard drive.
The hard drive,
Had
yeah.
been pulled out of her
The
computer.
keyboard and the monitor were there, it was just the
Right, the guts and cut out. So
the computer itself was gone. Yeah.
I went to Michael after I heard about it. He'd already put it back in at that time. And I asked him, why did he ever take the hard drive out of the computer? He said, well, it's customary when a new person takes office to debug it. I said, well, what happened to the QuickBooks? He said, well, the license expired, so I just erased it. So I said, well, Michael, I'm not a computer guru, but I said, just because a license expired does not mean that all of a sudden it vanishes. You can still use it. I have many programs on my computer that the license expired. I just quit getting updates for them.
That's correct.
Yeah, and that is correct. But he has totally erased all the information that was on there before.
He needs to be fired.
I wonder why.
I'm sorry.
I wonder why.
Let me ask you a question on this QuickBooks. I don't understand some of this. I know basically what the chancellor clerk's job is. Part of this with the QuickBooks, is that about his payroll, how he paid employees?
Yes, sir. He managed, everything, I'm managing everything through the AS400, like most clerks do. But he chose to do his clearing account, and we are a fee-based office. The Chancery clerk almost operates like a business. I had to take out a $50,000 line of credit so that I could pay my employees initially because I had $0 to pay my staff. So, we operate on fees that come into the office through different suits, estates, divorce, those types of things, copies, people coming in to record land deeds, all of those they all cost fees, and that's how I operate my office. So, my clearing account is it's the clerk's clearing account. That's how I pay for my staff, all of the money that comes in through these fees, through all the different accounts, land redemption, recording, court, all these, we settle out. I get a percentage of the fees, and others are allocated to the state and other, funds. But I get a portion of those, and those go into my clearing account. That's how I operate my office. So he ran, a separate set of books on his, clerk's clearing account, the land redemption account, and a mineral stamps account. And so I just wanted to see what, I felt like those were a matter of public record. He kept saying that everything I needed was in the AS 400. Yes, it is, but I would like to see what was in the QuickBooks to see if they reconcile, if everything was done, properly and ethically. And with my encounters previously, you know, I felt like I wanted to know even more after previous dealings with his business manager. Miss Marie Burge was his office manager. And there are many other things that were issues, that I had great concerns over, in addition to the tax issue of not withholding taxes and paying those employees through payroll so that taxes would be taken out. And when I learned that on December 28th, I told her, I was in a meeting with, Adrian Lumpkin and my bookkeeper, Ruthie Keller, and myself, and Miss Marie, and she told me how she paid those employees, and I said, I cannot continue that practice. And then I did, I put them through payroll. I talked to the state auditor's office. I requested an audit, because of some concerns, an exit audit, and they said that I would be responsible for everything beginning January 4th, and he was responsible for everything prior to January 4th, and that I had nothing to worry about, that I was doing the right thing by putting them through payroll and allowing the taxes to be taken out as they should.
Have you heard back from the auditor's office?
Yes, sir, I've been in contact with them.
Are there any findings with previous?
I'm not sure as of yet.
That's what I meant when I asked if you heard back. If you heard back as to whether there are any findings, discrepancies with. I know you're saying you feel, but I'm trying to find out what they are.
I think they're going through, conducting their own investigation.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
This, I'm concerned about IT man, Michael Ferguson. I don't even know him. But to delete proprietary information from the government computer, allow someone else into an account that they're not supposed to be into, that's like it's illegal to me. Like he just,
Right, why isn't there a criminal investigation? That's what, if we know this knowledge, why don't we know that?
I'm sure this man works for the county, so you got to be on somebody's direct supervision. Who supervised him? And who authorized this man to do this? This is very serious business. This is hacking into government information.
Absolutely.
And we have this stuff going on from the national level down, it seems like. Something needs to be taken into account on this. Somebody needs to have an answer for these actions.
Right. Let me ask you one question. You know, besides the point, let me just ask the basic question. You know, the Chancellor Clerk's office, besides running the Chancellor's Court and handling those funds, collects our records and stores our records for which people pay a fee. What is we keep talking about this illegal activity. I know it's probably illegal to pay employees and not withhold the tax from them and that such, but that doesn't seem like that really affects the taxpayers. I mean, that's an internal thing that Daryl did that he may have to answer for, or his employees have to answer for. My question is simply this: has the taxpayers of this county been defrauded has major money by this,
Okay.
or is it poor management? Is the records and everything where they handle property? And when I'm talking about records, I'm talking about deeds and deeds of trust and stuff that's filed in the courthouse, which is a big part of your job. Your auditor's department, part of your auditing that you do, it's very questionable about what David Earl did, but he's not here to defend himself, and I found out a long time ago, there's always two sides to every story, and probably somewhere in the middle is what
Yes,
really
sir.
happened.
I do understand that. I did have to change some practices when I came into the office because his employees, were very upset when I made them start receiving every cash transaction, every transaction that came through, my office. The practice that they had been under was, and several told me this, and they could verify it. They said that Marie Burge told them that if a person came in to, pay for copies, and it was under $5, to put that cash in a different drawer. They would make one cash transaction at the end of the day, and they could use that money for their lunches. They girl used to host, they would host these big lunches, for.
Let me ask a question. Let me stop.
Let me finish, and I changed that practice. I said, starting today on January 4th, you will receive, if someone comes in to pay 50 cents for a copy, you receive that 50 cents. And one of the employees said, that's too much work, and I said, no, it is not. We are going to do this correctly. We are not going to misuse and misappropriate public funds for our personal use. This will change today, and so I started that. I changed that practice, and I put the people through the payroll so that would be corrected also. So that's two things off the bat that I did change so that we would not misappropriate public funds.
Okay, let's just kind of follow, who owns the copy machine? Does the county own those, or does the David Earl own those?
Well, my office, through my budget, pays for those. We have contracts with copy companies.
Who pays for the paper?
We do.
When you say we, you talking about the Chancery
The
Clerk?
Chancery Clerk's office.
So David Earl Johnson, did he pay for the paper? I'm just asking a question. I'm not being the
Yes.
devil's advocate. He's not here to speak for himself. We probably ought to.
He had a choice not to be here.
I'll ask you a question, man. Just hold up.
Yes, it was,
Did he furnish the paper?
yes, he did.
Did he furnish the copy machine or pay the lease on it?
Yes, he did.
With his money? That would have been his.
No, it's the Chancery Clerk's money. Every dime, Mr. Hudson, that comes through my office is not my money. It is public funds. I have to account for that money. And as an elected official, I am responsible to these people. I'm responsible for upholding the law.
I understand that. I appreciate
spending
that. We
their
are
money
too.
wisely. And I believe that spending their cash money when my grandmother comes in to pay for copies, and then for my employees to go put her copy money in an account for lunch